Check, check, check. Today on First Cup, we've got jokes, and it's Friday rather. So we're gonna have a good time. So you should stick around, and we'll be going in 15. I just poured some coffee. I don't need my phone. That can go over there. I've got a towel because I feel like I'm going to spill my coffee. Could happen. Three, two, one. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Today is Friday, February 18th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. That's very warm. Good morning to Mark and to Andrew and to Jenny and to all of you, whether you're watching live, later, listening, or doing something else. Thanks for coming by for First Cup. Good morning, Dennis and Daniel. Andrew asks, know why this Friday is better than most? I have a suspicion why Andrew would think this Friday is better than most, but it's a little bit selfish. So maybe I'll wait for him to answer. How was your Thursday? What'd you do? I did work. I did work around here. I did work in there. I sent 1.5 million emails. Maybe it was just 1 million. It felt like 1.5 million. Hey, it is about me. Because I get to hang with Jeremy tonight. Yeah. So, good morning, Andy. After work today, headed south, hanging out with Andrew, teaching some stuff with his crew tomorrow. Kind of pumped for that. That'll be a good time. I thought this was kind of fun. I thought this was the last committed stop on the tour. I was like, what are we going to do? But now we got another one in May. So we're adding more. We're adding more. I'm all over the place. People ask me, what do you do? I do all these other things. And then what else do you? What do you do on the weekends? Oh, I travel and teach martial arts. Oh, yeah. Oh, only 1.5 million emails. I'll expect an answer to mine tomorrow then. Ha. Went to I don't know, it's somewhere in between work because it's a client and a networking event that they do monthly, and met some people. One of the people was an intern for a new person, and so making the introduction, and his boss says, oh, and Jeremy does some martial arts. And the guy says, can you show me a move? And I'm like, oh, I hate this question. But I couldn't do what I always do because I was sitting down. I was sitting, it was at a bar, and I'm sitting at the bar in one of those tall chairs where my feet don't touch. And that always kind of freaks me out. But, and everybody else was standing. So I couldn't, like, it wasn't appropriate to just like jump up, scoot out of the chair, and then walk away. Like it wasn't going to work. So can you teach me a move? Can you show me a move? It wasn't teach. Can you show me a move? I was like, no, not really. Which was not what he expected. Like, oh, and then we talked. He did some martial arts when he lived in New York, and we were talking about that, and it was really interesting because it was clear it was just a few months, 3 to 6 months, somewhere in that range, and it sounded like it was 10 plus years ago. But he just kept going on about the positive elements. And this is something that we talk about on the show. 6 months of training makes permanent changes for people in a positive way. He didn't express that he wanted to start training again. He just expressed that he was glad he had done what he did. Maybe he was just kind of maybe he was talking about it differently because I was there. I didn't get that impression. Morning, Brian and Frank. Daniel suggesting this is a high block. Yeah, I guess I could have done that one. That could have worked. It's so boring. I thought about, because the angle was perfect. I thought about saying, all right, grab my wrist, and then just taking him to the ground. because with the height from where I was sitting, it would have worked really well in a way that as a smaller person, it doesn't always work as well. Um, but I decided that wasn't a great introduction to someone. Jeremy broke my wrist. No, I didn't. You're fine. But it hurts. Well, that's probably true. Um, it was an interesting evening. Friend of mine there, um, recently gone through a divorce and had had a few drinks and was introducing himself to women at the bar, some of whom had significant others with them. So I was in observational mode. No, they don't look like they're ready to kill him. Hey, can you help me watch out for him and make sure he doesn't? And then I watched him talking to a couple women, and I couldn't quite tell if was he over the line? Were they ready for him to leave them alone? It was vague, so I just went over and sat with them. And he was drunk enough that I was able to say, "Hey, is he being okay?" And they're like, "Yeah." He was like near the line. He was towing the line, but eventually I pulled him away. I was like, "It's time to go." It's like, okay. Sometimes being a good wingman is keeping people from embarrassing themselves. But it was a fun night. What else did I do? I dropped off my dental retainer at the orthodontist so they could make more teeth things, Invisalign things. Oh, Kelly's suggesting grab my finger, and Daniel says, "Is that the martial arts version of pull my finger?" Ray says, "It's like when Daniel asked Mr. Miyagi, show me how to sweep." Mr. Miyagi grabbed a broom. The sneeze in there for the punchline? That wasn't intended. And he's asking, how is our weather there? Sleeting. I woke up to the sound of little ice balls going ping, ping, ping off all the windows. It seems like it's changed over, but it was definitely gross. And I'm not, you know, I'm hopeful it cools off more. For people who don't live where it snows often, you might think, oh, the warmer the better. Not necessarily. Anything from like 28 to 34, you might have precipitation that is not snow. Snow is fine. Freezing rain, sleet, those are not fine. Those are not good to drive on. So when it's 28, like when I woke up, I prefer it to get colder. And according to the weather, it's going to get colder. Down to 6. Hooray. Yikes. Andrew says it's rain here. Supposed to be 55 today. Wow. Daniel says we've actually got weather for once. 68-mile-per-hour winds here today and snow forecast. Wow. 57 and rain in central Connecticut, according to Dennis. Weather. Is there anything that we have literally zero control over that we spend more time on? I don't think so. Weather. I like, I don't, as I get older, I understand how older people, seemingly old men, like watching the Weather Channel. Like, oh, look at the temperature there. Whatever. I'll probably be like that when I'm old. But Jenny says, we're in a severe thunderstorm warning for the next 23 minutes. High temperature 58, but we hit that already. Temps are dropping for the rest of the day. So there's your weather report. And there's last night and yesterday. Stupid fly. So today, what do I have? I have 2 meetings, a little bit of client work. I'm not going to work hard today. I'm just putting that out there. I got a couple things I got to do. I'll probably do a couple other things, and then I'm spent. I'll probably do some packing for vacation. Yeah, next Friday. This time next Friday, I will be on a plane. I'll be on a plane. Where's my first flight? Charlotte? I think I go to Charlotte first. So, yeah, I've never been to Charlotte Airport. Have you been to Charlotte Airport? Is it worth going to? Is there anything worth doing there? See, something like Atlanta has decent shopping. Not that I ever buy anything, because why would you buy anything in an airport? But at least it's something to do. You can walk around. Detroit has those great lights between, what is it, Terminal A and C? Um, those are the two main airports I go through, Atlanta and Detroit, because I'm in Burlington. So, yeah, we'll find out what Charlotte Airport's like. Take care, Andy. Kelly says, wait till you're on vacation and you can tease us with your weather. Daniel says, as I get older, I understand. Get off my lawn. Oh, I definitely when people walk by, if they're walking their dog, I'm definitely staring at them to make sure that if their dog poops in my grass, that they're cleaning it up. Yep. Jenny says she's in the Philly area. I always forget to say that. I think I'm too comfortable with everyone here. I assume y'all know where I am. I know where you are. Anything else to tell you? I don't think so. My greenhouse is awesome. I stood in there yesterday for a few minutes. It was cold outside. But just hanging out in warm, humid air with plants. Yeah, it's my own little botanical garden. Um, I might, I don't know, get a second one or a bigger one. I kind of want to build a greenhouse outside. I'm not quite sure where I would do it, but I want to do it. So it's on the roadmap. We'll see what happens. Ray says, bigger news. We got our whistlekick swag yesterday, hat and t-shirts. My first cup mug got delayed. I'm sorry to hear that, but it'll be there soon. It's worth the wait. I appreciate your order. All right. Don't forget, Friday mug. What, until the end of the month? We're coming. Like, it's almost time. If you want the Friday mug, we'll do other mugs, but we will never do this mug again. It'll be different. I know a few of you have it. Daniel says, I know you're in the US, Jenny. It's all the same place, right? Well, that's a joke because, and I'm sure what makes it even funnier is that Daniel has a better understanding of American geography than most of us have of British geography. I think to most of us, it's London, Scotland, Ireland, and Northern Ireland. Why am I sneezy? I'm congested. I'm gonna blame the coconut oil in my coffee. Lately, butter and cream in my coffee. My body's been like, no, I don't want that in the morning. So we're trying coconut oil. See how we do. Kelly's suggesting travel mugs. We made travel mugs once. I actually made a great travel mug, and I sold exactly 0 of them. But we'll try again at some point. See, a lot of it is, I used to work with a number of different companies that would make stuff. And we have kind of specialized with one company that makes stuff on demand. And they're adding stuff all the time. But I'm really not doing anything that's not with them because their customer service is great. Their pricing is decent. And they pack and ship stuff fast. Most of the other companies do everything overseas, and that's fine. But this company does stuff in the U.S. Actually, their big European plant is in Latvia, of all places. But they have a few other print houses, and it's free shipping. I can offer free shipping to everyone. So there's, unless we had like a big order of travel mugs, which by the time they came in and I had to ship them out, let's put it this way. The sweatpants that I did when I drove over and picked them up over there, by the time I shipped them out, we lost money. I don't mind doing that because we lost like $20. It wasn't a big deal. But shipping kills stuff. I went to ship a copy of Martial Journal to somebody in Australia, and the price was no. The cheapest I could get it there, something with pandemic restrictions, they've carved off a lot of the options. The cheapest I could send that little magazine was $76. So I wrote him an email and I was like, I'm going to hold this for you until things make more sense. Because I sent one to Argentina for 18. That'll do. Kelly says, "Oh, I'm awful with geography. North is up, right?" Andrew says, only been to Scotland, but been there many times." Daniel's proud of me. At least you know Northern Ireland exists. I do. He says, "Only around 3 hours north of me. We're heading up in May as my partner is running the Edinburgh Marathon." Oh, Scotland is 3 hours north. So that's North London, right? North London? All right. Let's flip over here. Let's do this. Jokes. We got jokes, people. We got jokes. Thank you to Frank for the jokes. Come on, switch tabs, computer. We got this. All right. The jokes for Fun Day Friday. Today is National Battery Day. How do we celebrate that? I hate charging batteries. It's revolting. Does anyone want a package of dead batteries? They're free of charge. Where did the alcoholic battery go? In AA meeting. Oh, I got to remember that one. What do you call an iPhone's battery? Apple juice. These are phenomenal. There's a woman in the park selling batteries. She sells sea cells by the seesaw. That's also awesome. The cops arrested 2 kids at the park. One was eating battery acid. The other was eating fireworks. They charged one and let off the other. What type of battery do you need if your car breaks down? AAA. I accidentally left some AA batteries in my pocket when I put them in the wash. That's what I call clean energy. These are so good. Where did the alcoholic battery go in AA meeting? Oof, so good. So good. He says, indeed, very North London. And Dana says, "Oh, wow, I actually need batteries and have forgotten them 3 days running. Thanks for the reminder." Andrew, I bought some batteries the other day, but they weren't included, so I had to buy them again. Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright's a great comedian. See if I can remember that AA battery one. I think I need to write these down. I figure I need like half a dozen that I can remember. I've only got like 2, and they're not very good. I've got, what do you call a fish with a bow tie? Sophisticated. Like that's my icebreaker one. That's I pull that out all the time because it's a dad joke. It's a little cute. It's kind of fun. It's a pun in a sense. Most people don't get it. I've had one person get it. Oh, nice job. Yeah. Alrighty. Let me switch gears into our quotes. Frank gave us some stuff to talk about today. Thank you again. And as always, Frank. I don't know if Frank's still here. I think I saw him come through early. Here we go. And these are some quotes from somebody that I really think highly of. I like this layout better. There we go. From Trevor Noah. So for those of you who may not remember or know who Trevor Noah is, Trevor Noah took over for Jon Stewart on Comedy Central's The Daily Show. And I was a big fan of Jon Stewart. And I remember when Trevor Noah took over, The Daily Show used to be what this block of time is for me. I would get up, I would have coffee, I would sit, and I would watch The Daily Show from the night before on my TiVo. There's an old sentence. So the first couple weeks, I remember the writers did not know what to do with Trevor Noah, and their writing for him was just terrible. And it was rough, and he was struggling. But it got better. Oh, look at snowing. Shocker. And it got a lot better. And now he occupies the place that I had hoped he would, which is to be a comedic, questioning voice of reason at times. I don't always agree with his opinions, but he asks great questions of guests and just broadly of the world. And I appreciate that about him. Smaller incidents in my life made me realize that language, even more than color, defines who you are to people. Ooh, that's interesting. So Trevor Noah is from South Africa, born in South Africa, and um, had spent time in the U.S., but really moved here for his job. And I think that's another thing I appreciate about him is that his perspective is really different. I think the only person I've spent any amount of time talking to from South Africa was Nikki Wolf, who was on the show. She was the woman who did the horse, the mounted martial arts. There was a name I forget. It starts with a B, Bagu Jitsu or something like that. She and I talked before and after the episode, and learned a little bit about South Africa. I think it's easy for us, especially in America, to get American centric in our perspective. When I was learning how to box, that was the number one thing my trainer taught me. He said, you can't get angry at every single time I hit you because that's why you're here. You're going to get hit. Acknowledge that you're going to get hit and now focus on how you're going to fight properly. And living through the times is exactly the right way to put it because I have seen a slice of this only on a different continent. Acknowledge that you're going to get hit and now focus on how you're going to fight properly. I think that is a wonderful statement as martial artists and just kind of as a broader metaphor for life. I used to think in my 20s, I was like, okay, once I get through this stage, once I get past this hurdle, once I overcome this obstacle, life would be easier, better, fine. That's never the case. There's always an obstacle. So you just kind of have to live. Right? You just kind of have to do what you can with what you have, where you're at. Frank's giving me comedy feedback. The fish joke you said might be one that looks better in writing. It does. It does. I didn't hit the fish part quite as well as I would if I was actually telling someone. So that's my fault there. Sophisticated. I'm trying. I'm getting better. Nope. Wrong tab. You get help at the gym. No one complains about that. You get help from your trainer. That's commonplace. And I think we need to spend more time doing that with mental health. A lot of us have issues that we don't work on and we don't deal with. And I try my utmost. We, in a lot of most Western culture, have been conditioned from youth to handle your problems. That the only people who needed to go to a therapist were crazy or from the most terrible backgrounds. We're coming to understand the value of going to a doctor to improve our mental health. And I'm glad we're finally getting there. Now, it might not be such a challenge. We might not need as much help with our mental health if we had a culture that was okay with people talking about their challenges. We don't do that. We don't talk about what we're afraid of, what keeps us up at night. You have to be vulnerable to do that. And most of us aren't willing to be vulnerable. Think about it from a martial arts perspective. How are you ever taught to be vulnerable? No. Our vulnerability is something that we work really hard to eliminate. But as my, we'll call him my therapist, has told me on numerous occasions, there's a strength in vulnerability. You have to be confident. If you share something about yourself with someone, you have to trust that they're going to treat it well, treat you well. There's strength, there's confidence. And I think we're improving. We're getting better. There are more options. And like anything else, the pendulum will swing too far and it'll correct. But we just got to do what works for us, even if it's not something that other people think is a good use of your time. I'm going on vacation for my mental health. I've been challenged of late. I'm getting out of here, going somewhere different, going somewhere I've always wanted to go, somewhere warm in the middle of winter. These are all good things. So I go. Daniel says, I saw a study the other day that recommended that everyone had a chat with a therapist at least once a year, kind of like a mental health checkup or service. Yeah, I think the majority of us, if we could get over the hurdle, the fear, the whatever, would benefit from monthly conversations with a therapist. And here's why I say that frequency. Think about the last month. Think about all the things that have been challenging or painful or fear-inducing, etc., that you didn't talk about with anyone. Think about all those things. They didn't just go away. Did you do something to process them? Most of us don't. Some of us do, but I would say most of us don't. That stuff builds up. There's a reason that a lot of old cultures talk about pain and fear and emotional trauma being stored within the body. And if you talk to anyone who has spent a bunch of time performing structural integration, also known as rolfing, or even some massage therapists, they can tell you stories about people on the table, and they work on certain spots and people just start sobbing, not because it hurts, but because they're releasing stored memory. Fascia seems to be the place that memory is stored, and it can be really cathartic. Surprising if people don't know that that's happening. Talk to some new massage therapists, and they're like, why are you crying? What is going on? This hasn't happened to me. I do a pretty good job of processing. Sometimes whether people want to hear it or not. Taking care of myself. Dennis says, Daniel, great point. Why do we not understand that mental health is as important as physical health? They go hand in hand, and one most certainly impacts the other. I suspect that in time we will stop drawing so much of a distinction between them. That's my theory. Kelly says, I'm taking a vacation soon too. Same reason. Jenny says, talking about my challenges usually gets me judged. And other people tend to say things like, well, why don't you just blah, blah, blah? This is very dismissive of my actual struggles. I have cut out some people because they did this. My mental health wasn't worth the relationship. People try to help. They try to, they don't want you to hurt. So they're offering advice. They're offering feedback. And if they don't have anything else and they can't empathize, well, just get over it. Buck up. You can do this. But that's not always what we need. Sometimes we just need to be heard and empathized with. And I think one of the things I've worked hardest on over the years is to recognize when someone is looking for advice and when they're looking for me to listen. Do you want my opinion on this, or you want me to listen? This really sucks. I'm sorry that this is happening to you. Do you want a hug? I've got. Are you in a spot where you can handle some advice? Don't assume they want your advice. It's arrogant. Sometimes people want you to listen. Sometimes they value you not because they want your advice, because everybody will offer them advice. Maybe they value you because they think they can share what's going on without judgment, which is far more rare. I share things with you guys, not everything. Yeah, try. Um, Dennis says, Kelly, Sarah, and I are taking a short weekend trip for the same reason. Kelly says, Jenny, I'm so sorry, but it's true. So many people think it can be fixed physically by doing something. Jenny says, I've developed a practice of asking, may I share advice, or should we do that another time? Oh, I love that. I love that, because then the person doesn't have to feel like they're dismissing your effort to help. That's fantastic. May I share advice, or should we do that another time? Ooh, great. Daniel says, trying to help or fix it is something I'm definitely guilty of. I need to work on just listening and empathizing. It's a work in progress. And I think as men, we struggle with that a little bit more. Historically, men are, like, let's do, let's accomplish, let's check boxes and solve. And women are a little bit better at understanding and honoring emotions. We can all get better at everything. I think for me, martial arts is a huge part of my mental health. Whether I'm just kind of doing some kicking and punching around on my own, and maybe I'm visualizing, maybe there's someone that I'm visualizing that I'm working through. What would, what's the emotional component? If I'm mad at someone, you know, let's pretend they're right there and I'm punching them in the face. How does that make me feel? Oh, well, I really don't want to punch them in the face. Okay, so that can help me unpack some things. But good hard training where you can't think about anything else, where it's just complex enough to consume your attention, that's some of my favorite. Half the reason I'm looking at opening a school is so I can have some of that again. All right, this is what we're doing. Follow along. Yeah. That's the reason my original instructors opened a school. They wanted people to train with. All right, we got to get you good enough that I can beat you up and not feel bad about it. That was pretty much what happened. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. I'm going to see Andrew tonight. Am I going to see any of the rest of you this weekend, tomorrow at Andrew's event in Keene? If you were at Free Training Day, it's in the same spot. There is a Facebook event. If you don't see it, reach out to myself or Andrew, and I will send you the information. It is open. You are welcome to come. I don't know what I'm doing Sunday. Probably packing more because it's almost time for vacation. That's it. Remember, you can get a mug if you want the Friday mug. Do it soon. Do it soon. Or anything else, use the code FirstCup15 at whistlekick.com. You can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. And you got the whole list of all the stuff you can do to support the mission at whistlekick.com/family. Do this show every weekday, 6:30 U.S. time. And if you've got questions or comments or anything we can use for the show, post them on Facebook, facebook.com/firstcupwithjeremy. If you don't do Facebook, email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. I appreciate all of you. I'm glad you came by. I'm thankful to have you as part of my morning. So go have a great day and great weekend, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Take care, everybody. Peace.